Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So in this video, I'm going to solve all the questions for the homework and exercise of the PMC lesson 1. So let's start with the first question. Frank went shopping with £100 in his wallet. He spent 20% of his money on a book and 50% of the rest on a DVD. So how much money did he then have left? Okay, so let's draw a bar to show what is happening in the question. So let me draw a bar first. So this bar represents £100, right? So in total, there are £100. And 20% of his money actually spent on books, right? Actually spent on books. So maybe this part is 20%. So this part spent on book. So let's write down first. Book is 20%. Perfect. So after that, how about DVD? It is 50% of the rest. So pay attention right here. It is 50% of the rest, but not 50% of all the monies. So it should be 50% of the remaining money. So what is the percentage remains? The percentage remains is 80%, right? And 50% of the remains. So it should be 50% of the 80%. Do you get it? It should be 50% of the 80%. So this part, 50% of the 80% is for the DVD. So what is the exact percentage for DVD? It will be 80% times 50% because it is 50% of the rest, not 50% of the £100, right? So let's calculate this percentage multiplication. So 80% is actually 80 out of 100, so it is 4 out of 5. This part is actually 4 out of 5. And we multiply it by 50. 50 is obviously 1 out of 2, right? So times 1 out of 2. So after that, after you simplified it, you can see that it is 2 out of 5, right? It is 2 out of 5. And it's exactly the same as 40%. So basically, DVD occupies 40% instead of 50. Okay, so how many percent left? How many percent left? So the percentage left must be 1 minus 20% minus 40% equals to 40%. So we have 40% left. So 40% equals to how many money? It will be £100 times 40%, right? So it should be total amount £100 times 40%. So 40% is 2 out of 5. So you multiply by 2 out of 5 equals to 40. So he has left £40. Perfect. So if you get it, let's go to question 2. In 2010, about 120 million digital still cameras were sold worldwide. By 2018, this number had decreased by 85%. About how many million digital still cameras were sold in 2018? So the main point is, what does decreased by 85% mean? It means how many percent remains? It means 1 minus 55 equals to 15%, right? 15% remains. Okay, so it means in 120 million, 15% remains. So I want to find out what is the 15% of 120 million. That is very easy. We just do 120. So the unit is million. So I don't really have to write down the million. I just treat it as 120 M, okay? And I multiply it with 15%. Let's see what is the result. When you multiply by 15%, you can change it into fraction first. It should be 15 out of 100. And 15 out of 100, when you simplify it, it should be 3 out of 20. So now we simplify the multiplication. 20 and 120 can be cancelled out. It will be 6 million. So 6 million times 3, it is 18 million. So in 2018, only 18 million digital still cameras were sold. So the answer is A. Okay, so now we go to question 3. The ratio of tulips to roses in my garden is 2:5. And the ratio of tulips to lilies is 7:2. If there are 12 lilies, how many roses are there in my garden? Okay, so first we can highlight the first ratio. The first ratio is this one, right? We have tulips to roses. So let's write down first. We have tulips to roses equals to 2:5. So this is the first ratio. The second ratio is right here. We have the ratio between tulips and lilies, right? So highlight it and write it down right here. Tulips to lilies is 7:2. Okay, so if I want to link up the ratio, I have to link up the numbers for tulips because it appears in both of the relationship, right? So how can I make 2 and 7 to be the same numbers? We have to find out the lowest common multiple of 2 and 7, right? Lowest common multiple of 2 and 7. And because they're co-prime, the lowest common multiple is 14. So I have to turn these two numbers into 14. 2 times 7 is 14. And I have to multiply that by the 5 by 7 as well, because I want to find out the equivalent ratio. And for tupling, I have to multiply by 2, and the 2 also multiplied by 2. Okay, after we link up the numbers, now let me just write down the final ratios. The final ratios between all these three flowers will be 14 to 5 times 7, 35 to 2 times 2, 4. So it is 14 to 35 to 4. Okay, so now let's read the last sentence of the question. If there are 12 lilies, so instead of 4, I want 12. What should I do? I multiply by 3, right? So I multiply by 3, it becomes 12. But you have to multiply the other flowers first because you want to keep the ratio the same. You also multiply the roses. 35 times 3 equals to 105 roses. And finally, you also multiply the tulips. 14 times 3, it is 42. So we have 42 to 105 to 12. What is the question asking? How many roses are there in the garden? So roses is the number in the middle. So the answer is 105. Okay, perfect. So basically these are the answers for the first three homework questions. Now we go on to do some exercise. Let's do the first one. A concert hall has sold 70% of its ticket for a particular night. 30 tickets remain. How many people can the concert hall hold? Actually, this one is really easy. So 70% sold, right? 70% sold, which means how many percent remains? 1 minus 70%, the rest, right? 70% remains. And 70% is equals to 30 tickets, right? 30% is 30 tickets. Then how many people are there in total? It is 100, obviously 100, right? So if you don't understand it, we can do the calculation. 30 is the part, right? So 30 is the part. I have to divide it by the corresponding fraction. And the corresponding fraction is 30%, which is 30 out of 100. So I divide it by 30 out of 100. And when you do division, you have to keep the first number, flip the next number, and then turn the division into multiplication. And you can see that 30 and 30 can be cancelled out. So the answer is 100. So in total, there are 100 people in the concert hall. Okay, perfect. So now let's go to question 5. Jack and Jay each bought identical books from the same bookshop. Jack bought the books on Monday when there was a 5% off. Jay bought the books on Sunday when there was 10% off. So Jack paid 30 pence more than Jay. What was the original price of the books they bought? And this one is a little bit more tricky, so let me just use the bar model to help us. So first, I will draw a bar for Jack. So the bar means the price, the original price of the book. Okay, this is the original price of the books. So Jack actually has a 5% off, right? 5% off. So he only paid how many percent? He only paid 95%. So this one is 95%. Okay, how about J? How about J? So actually J also has a discount, and actually J discount is even better. So she get a 10% off. So how many percent of the price she has to pay? Only 90%, right? Because 10% has off. Okay, so what is the difference in percentage? The difference in percentage is 5%. And it's exactly equals to 30 pence, right? Because Jack actually paid 30 pence more. So now I know that 5% of the price actually equals to 30. Then I want to find out the original price of the book, the whole book, right? So we do the part 30 divided by the fraction, 5%. So 30 divided by 5% is actually 5 out of 100, and 5 out of 100 is the same as 1 out of 20. So we do 30 divided by 1 out of 20 equals to what? 30 times the reciprocal times 20. So it will be 600. And this is pence. Okay, pay attention. This is pence because 30 is pence. So what you calculate is pence. 600 pence equals to how many pounds? 6 pounds, right? So the answer is D. Now we go to question 6. In a class, 80% of the students like painting. 50% of the students who like painting also like singing. So what percentage of the children like both painting and singing? This one is quite easy. Basically, you can use the bar model to help you. So this is all the students. 80% of the students like painting. So first, 80% like painting. And 50% of the students who like painting. So it will be 50% of the 80% also like singing, right? So that is the percentage, not just 50. It's 50% of 80%. So it will be 50% of 80%. So this part should be 80% times 50%. Get it? So after that, we can do the calculation. 80%, what is 80%? It is 4 out of 5, right? 4 out of 5. 50% is 1 out of 2. So again, it is 4 out of 5 times 1 out of 2. After we simplify the numbers, it will become 2 out of 5, right? 2 out of 5. And 2 out of 5 is how many percent? 2 out of 5 is 40%, right? So 40% of the children like both painting and singing. Well done. If you get it, let's go on to question 7. Tom, Jim, Peter earned 620 pounds together for painting a wall, a very expensive wall. The ratio of Tom's reward to Jim's reward is 3 to 4. The ratio of Jim's reward to Peter's reward is 6 to 5. How much money did Tom earn? So basically, this is a ratio problem. Highlight the ratio first. In the first one, we have the ratio between Tom's reward and Jim's reward. So let's write down Tom to Jim. So Tom actually get less rewards than Jim. So Tom only get 3 parts of the rewards and Jim get 4 parts. So we have 3 to 4, right? And for Jim and Peter, there is another ratio. So for Jim to Peter, the ratio is 6 to 5. So 6 to 5. First, we have to link up these two ratios, and Jim is the common person in the two relationship, so we have to make 4 and 6 into the same numbers. What is the lowest common multiples of 4 and 6? It is not 24, it's actually 12, right? It's actually 12. But actually, if you make them into 24, it also works. But no problem, let's make it into 12 first. So now just multiply 4 by 3, right, to make it 12. You also have to multiply the 3. So 6 multiplied by 2 to make it 12. So 5 also multiplied by 2. And after that, we have linked up the ratios already. So Tom's reward to Jim's reward to Peter's reward equals to 9 to 12 to 10. So it means Tom will get 9 parts of the reward when Jim gets 12 parts of the reward and Peter gets 10 parts of the reward. Okay, so in total, the reward is actually 620, which means all the rewards add up to 620. So I want to find out what is one part of the reward, right? So how to find out one part? One part equals to 620 parts in total, and how many parts are there? 9 parts plus 12 parts plus 10 parts, right? Because Tom has 9 parts, Jim has 12 parts, Peter has 10 parts. Now we just calculated 620 divided by 9 plus 12 plus 10. It is 31. So 620 divided by 31, we get 20. So one part equals to 20 pounds. The question is asking how much money did Tom earns, right? Tom earns. So Tom earns 9 parts. 9 parts equals to 9 times 20 because each part is 20. So we get 180 pounds. So Tom actually earns 180 pounds. Perfect. So now let's go to question 8. In the zoo, the total number of sheep, kangaroos, and monkeys is between 90 and 100. So it means the number is between 90 and 100. The number of sheep is 1/4 of the number of monkeys. The number of kangaroos is 1/5 more than the number of monkeys. How many sheep, kangaroos, and monkeys are there in the zoo? So now we have the first ratio right here. The number of sheep is 1/4 of the number of monkeys, which means there are more sheep or more monkeys. There are more monkeys, right? Because sheep is 1/4 of monkeys, which means when there are 4 monkeys, there will be 1 sheep. So sheep to monkey, the ratio is 1:4. When there is 1 sheep, there must be 4 monkeys because 1/4 of monkeys, right? So this is the first ratio. How about the second ratio? The second ratio is the number of kangaroos is 1/5 more than the number of monkeys. So does that mean if there is 1 kangaroo, there are 5 monkeys? No, because there are actually more kangaroos. It is 1/5 more. So what is 1/5 more? What does that mean, 1/5 more? 1/5 more actually means 1 plus 1/5. Okay, 1 plus 1/5 equals to 6/5. So if there are 6 sheep, 6 kangaroos, there will be 5 monkeys. So we have the relationship between monkeys and kangaroo now. It is 5 to 6. Okay, it is 5 to 6. Now, we want to link up these two ratios together. So I want to find out sheep to monkeys to kangaroos. I want to link up the number for monkeys. So 4 and 5, what is the lowest common multiple? It is 20, right? So I turn 4 into 20 by multiplying it by 5. 1 also multiplied by 5. 5 times 4 is 20, 6 times 4 is 24. So the final ratio is 5 to 20 to 24. So when there are 5 sheep, there must be 20 monkeys and there must be 24 kangaroos. Okay, so now let's find out how many sheep, how many kangaroos, and how many monkeys are there. Case 1, it is just 5 sheep, 20 monkeys, and 24 kangaroos, right? Because they are whole numbers, we can't actually get smaller than these numbers. So how about 5 plus 20 plus 24 equals to 49. So is that the final answer? Can there be only 49 animals? No, right? Because the number should be between 90 and 100. So 49 is too small. It's too small. So I have to multiply by 2 for each types of animals. So I should have 10 monkeys because I multiplied by 2, and 20 times 2, 40 kangaroos, and also monkeys, and 24 times 2, 48 kangaroos. So it will becomes 10 plus 40 plus 48. So finally we get 98 animals. And that is between 90 and 100. So that's why this is the perfect answer. Okay, so now we go to question 9. The ratio of David's marbles to John's marbles was 4 to 1. John gave away 12 of his marbles, then the ratio changed to 2 to 3. How many marbles did David have? Okay, so first there is the ratio between David's marbles and John's marbles. Originally, it is 4 to 7. So let me write it down first. Originally, the ratio between David and John is 4 to 7. So David has 4 marbles and John has 7 marbles. When David has 4 marbles, John will have 7 marbles. Okay, so now John actually gave away 12 of his marbles. So John lost 12 marbles. So how the ratio change? The ratio changed to 2 to 1, which means now David to John is 2 to 3. Okay, it's 2 to 3. So how come the ratio changed that much? So in this question, what is not changing? Can anyone tell me what is not changing in this question? That is the number of marbles David had, right? Because only John gave away 12 marbles. David don't give away any marbles. So David have the same marbles in these two conditions. But how come the ratio changed? How come the numbers for David change? Because John's give away some marbles, then the proportion of David's marble in all the marbles actually increase, right? So that's why the ratio changed. Okay, but I have to make the number in David's ratio keep unchanged if I want to compare the size. So how can I turn 2 and 4 into the same numbers? Very easy, you just multiply 2 by 2 and 3 by 2. So what is the new ratio? It would be 4 to 6. Okay, so David's numbers doesn't change. It makes sense, no change. And John's numbers in the ratio actually change from 7 to 6, so it minus 1 part. Minus 1 part is the same as minus 12 marbles. So 1 part equals to what? Equals to 12 marbles, right? So the question is asking how many marbles did David have? So I think he wants to find out the number of marbles David have originally, right? But actually it's the same because David has the same marbles in both conditions. So the part is 4, right? The part is 4. So if you want to find David, David is 4 parts. 1 part is 12 marbles. 4 parts equals to 12 times 4 equals to 48 marbles. Okay, finally we go to question 10. There were some children at the carnival. 3 out of 11 of children were girls and the rest were boys. After 48 boys left the carnival, the number of girls was half the number of remaining boys. So how many children were at the carnival at first? Actually, there are two ratios again in this question. So 3/11 of children were girls and the rest were boys. So which means that out of 11 parts, okay, let me just draw it first. Out of 11 parts, 3 parts were girls, right? 3 parts were girls. So this is girls, and the rest are boys. So what is the ratio between girls and boys originally? It will be 3 to 8, right? 3 to 8. But now 48 boys actually left the carnival. So 40 boys left. And now the number of girls was half the number of remaining boys. So which means now the number of students actually change. And half of the children are girls and half of the children are boys, right? So the ratio now is 1 to 1 because one girl always comes with one boy. Oh, so sorry, I think I made some mistake. After 48 boys left the carnival, the number of girls was half the number of remaining boys. Okay, it's half of the remaining boys. So it should not be 1 to 1. It should not be 1 to 1. It should be 1 to 2. Okay, 1 to 2. Because the number of girls was half the number of remaining boys, right? So which means boys should be 2 parts and girl is 1 part after the living, right? So now this part is girls and these 2 parts are boys. So girl was half the number of remaining boys. So girl is 1 part, boys are 2 parts now. Okay, so the ratio cannot be compared because both numbers are not the same. But which number should I make it the same? I should make the number of girls, the girls number the same. Because no girls leave the carnival, right? Only boys left the carnival. So this number should be the same as original. So I want to turn the 1 into 3. So what should I do? I can multiply the ratio by 3, right? So we get 3 to 6. 3 to 6. Okay, so can you see that the part for the boys decreased from 8 to 6? So 2 parts gone and equals to 48 boys. So 2 parts equals to 48 boys. One part equals to how many boys? One part equals to 24 boys, right? Or 24 people. So in one part, there are 24 people. So what is the question asking? How many children were at the carnival at first? So at first, how many parts are there? There are 11 parts, right? So there are 11 parts. Let me use another color. Originally, there are 3 plus 8 equals to 11 parts. So 11 parts equals to how many people? One part is 24. 11 part is 11 times 24 equals to 264. So there are 264 children at the carnival at first. Get it? So that's how we solve question 10. So if you don't have any question, you can ask me. If you don't have any question, then remember to do the homework and ask me some question if you like in WeChat.